Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Prime. This is RIVERA bringing you the Ncaa Men's Basketball National Championship preview. I don't have any intro music this time, but just wanted to make a quick preview before tonight's game because it's going to be a good one. We have Gonzaga pitted up against UNC. And before I get to that, I want to say congratulations to on the women's side to South Carolina. They played an amazing game against a really good Mississippi State team that came in there with a lot of momentum after knocking off the almighty UConn women's basketball team, knocking off I think it's a 111 game winning streak. So UConn was definitely destined to win, but I think it was a Morgan Williams last game winning shot, pull up jumper to defeat them. And so the thing is with the UConn's women team is that they got so used to blowing out teams that they were not in very close games. They were not in a lot of close games this year, not at all. And I saw it in the NCAA tournament when they played UCLA. I think it was a Sweet 16. It might have been. And it was like a 15-point game. I said, man, you know what? There's a little chink in that armor there at UConn during tournament time. They're facing tougher teams, more challenges. And you know what? And then that thought kind of erased out of my mind when UConn women's basketball team, I think they blew out their next opponent after they had that little close game with the UCLA. So if you want to say it close, is 15, 16 points. Anyways, they would have been a clear-cut favorite against South Carolina if they would have made it, past Mississippi State. And I think they would have ended up being the national champion easily against South Carolina. They just didn't have their best foot forward, against Mississippi State. But I just want to say congratulations, South Carolina, man. That girl, Asia Williams, or I don't know if her name's Asia Williams or whatever the case is. But man, she was flat out a dog. She was flat out a dog. Man, I have nothing else to say. She made some Asia Wilson, I'm sorry. I said Asia Williams, Asia Wilson. She made some very championship caliber plays down the stretch. A big rebound when I think Mississippi State, comes down, makes a two or whatever the case is. She gets a big rebound and a putback. She gets a block on the other end, gets another shot, makes another shot down. She's just 23 points. And who else? Antonio Davis's daughter, who's also another star on this team, Kyla Davis. She didn't play her best game. She was 4-12, but she did have second half. She did show up and had like 10 points, 6 rebounds. She was really good second half. But yeah, Asia Wilson was fantastic. And she has a WNBA in her future. So shout out to the South Carolina Gamecocks women for winning that first national championship for the men's and the women's. And so just want to tap that there. Also, I will be bringing a baseball preview. I didn't do one. Opening night snuck up pretty much on everybody. I was listening to Mike and Mike this morning on ESPN Radio. And Mike Greenberg is like, man, opening day they usually have all this popping circumstance and it's a big thing, and now opening day just sneaks up on you, and it's like, oh, opening day's here, and we're already in the fourth inning of the first game of baseball season. So I'm glad to have baseball back. Cubbies lost. It was a good game last night against St. Louis Cardinals. I believe the game before that, San Francisco Giants. I think they lost. If I'm not mistaken, they lost to the Arizona Diamondbacks. And I know Diamondback fans are probably like, oh, yeah, we got a good team now. Madison Bumgarner hit 2 home runs. Yeah, they lost to the Diamondbacks 6-5. The Tampa Bay Rays beat the Yankees 73. And a lot of these fans that go crazy. Oh, my God, the season's over. We lost the first game to the Tampa Bay, to the Diamondbacks. It's like, no, it's a long season. It's over 100 games. So baseball is such one of those long drag out seasons that's like, you don't, if by the middle of the season you pretty much know where your team's gonna go. But yeah, I mean it's one of those weird sports. So yeah, the Cubs didn't pull it off. The Cardinals pulled it off in 9 innings at the bottom of the ninth. I think Grichuk hit it would have been like a double or a triple. Probably would have cleared the bases, but it was good enough to bring in the man from third base as the bases were loaded to win the game against the Cubs. After Wilson Contreras hit a 3-run home run off of the reliever pitcher. And I have a special guest here with me. It's Israel Jr. He's walking around here yelling and stuff like that. But anyways, don't mind his yelling antics here. But back to the game tonight. Because I don't want to go on about baseball. I kind of just want to make this short and sweet. And sorry about that. But I just want to make this short and sweet, really, and talk about the game a little bit tonight and the road that both these teams were on, basically. So for Gonzaga, obviously, I think number one overall team, if I may ask, number one overall team, bracket wise, in the tournament. And they started off the tournament. Gonzaga, I mean, obviously, they had an easy against South Dakota State, the Jackrabbits. They got rid of them 66-46. Then they had to go against Northwestern, in which they won controversially. And a lot of people were saying, like, hey, man, if the refs didn't get that goaltending call on Gonzaga, would have been bounced by Northwestern. Well, I like to see it. I like to see the glass half full instead of half empty. I mean, Gonzaga was up pretty big in that game, and it took a lot of energy from the Northwestern players and team to come back into that game, to get into striking distance, and then to even put themselves in a position to where people can even talk about that goaltending, because it was such a 5-point swing. I mean, they went from them only being down 3 points to them being up to them being down 7. So that was pretty big. So they ended up beating Northwestern 79-73. And the thing is with Gonzaga, they haven't been in many close games. They're just like the UConn's women basketball team. All year they have pretty much blown out everybody. They have a high points per game differential for any team, I think, in national wise. But they play in the West Coast Conference, so they do play a lot of bad teams. Despite playing like St. Mary's is pretty good. They're a top 25 team almost pretty much the last couple years. And so they get past Northwestern, and they end up going against West Virginia, Press Virginia, and they have a close game there. So it's 61-58 there. And they end up beating Press Virginia, is what I like to call them. So they ended up beating West Virginia in the Sweet 16. And from there, that was a close game, 61-58. And then they go against Xavier in the Elite Eight, in which Xavier had no business being in. I mean, they played their hearts out all tournament. They made it to the Elite Eight. Most people thought Xavier was going to get bounced in the first round. They don't even have their best player on their team. I think he's been injured all year long. I don't even want to go back and look at his name. I just know he's a guard, and he's their leading scorer and leading assist guy, and up there in rebounds as well. He's a multi-dimensional guy there. And so, Xavier, I'm trying to think of the guy's name. That's their team leader. I think it's I want to say it's either Sumner or it's Blewett. I think it's Edmund Sumner, though, if I'm not mistaken. Edmund Sumner. Xavier wasn't even supposed to be there at that point, and I don't know how they were able to make it, but they somehow, some way they pulled it off. Somehow, some way Xavier pulled it off. Yeah, and it is Sumner, Bluett. Yeah, at least they had Bluett, who was their lead. But see, Sumner was their leading scorer the season prior. He was their best player the season prior. He was their best player coming in. So Bluett kind of had to. I believe his name is Trayvon Bluett or whatever the case is. Trayvon Bluett. He led them in scoring and rebounds and assists. But like I said, man, Ed Sumner was 16-5 and 5 guy. So he was up there. He was pretty much solid all statistical categories. And I don't want to go too much on Xavier. So good story. Ran into Gonzaga, got blown out. End of story. They're not there anymore. So now, pretty much from there on, then Gonzaga goes against a 7 seed in South Carolina. And I don't want to take anything against South Carolina, but South Carolina played some great defense this tournament. I mean, that's a team that is going to be on the rise next year. It's going to be a pretty good team next year. And Frank Martin, rightfully so. I mean, there's some good recruits, some ESPN Top 100 recruits that are out of South Carolina that he may be able to pull in and to bring into that program and make them a lot better next season. They ended up going against South Carolina this past Saturday, and they beat them 77-73. And that was another close game. So Gonzaga now is in the national championship game. And just to preview that, it's the first time Markview's been to a national championship game. So, and for Gonzaga as well. So, there's going to be a lot of butterflies. There's going to be a lot of excitement for that school, for Spokane, Washington. But I believe that Gonzaga is going to live in the moment. I think they're going to play the hearts out. They're the number one team overall in this tournament, and they have the best defensive efficiency. They have one of the highest points per game averages, best offensive efficiency, one of the best point guards in the nation, one of the better big men in the nation. So Gonzaga's looking primed and ready to go. Now let's look at the UNC side and look at what they had to go through. And USC's all the way on the other side of the bracket here, as they should be, because they're pitted up against a West team. So UNC is going to be a South team, and they started off they blew out Texas Southern by 29 points. They had a scare against Arkansas 72-65, and I'll be real quick with UNC because they make quick work out of their opponents in the NCAA tournament. They went against Butler, and Butler was they went against Butler in the Sweet 16, which everybody was like, oh, Butler could have a chance to go to the national championship if they knock off UNC, in which they were unable to knock off UNC in the Sweet 16. So then UNC moves on and beat Butler, and UNC goes against Kentucky, and that was a really good game. I think it was a last-second shot by I forget his name, by May. Luke May hit a jumper with 0.3 seconds left, and this is after Malik Monk ties the game with a three-pointer of his own. They don't call a timeout. They bring it down, and they find Luke May on the trail, and he hits a 18-footer to win the game. So and then afterwards you got the press conference, the interview in the locker room with De'Aaron Fox and Bam Adebayo. Very heartwarming to see, one and done. Those guys are one and dones, man. I mean, they're prime. They have nothing to prove in college basketball. They're ready to go to the pros, and that's why I don't get with a lot of people that are saying, oh, the one and dones are ruining college basketball. Well, that's fine, and let these guys go to the overseas. It's good for them to go to college basketball because a lot of the NBA owners don't watch. They're not talent evaluators. I mean, they rely on talent evaluators to give them profiles of guys overseas or who's playing overseas. But mainly NBA owners are watching NCAA basketball and NCAA tournament basketball, and so a lot of the top players go to top schools because that's where they're going to be looked at And they're going to get playing time. And they're going to play against peers that they played against in AAU for years. So, like I said, man, to see that from two young guys that are looked at as, oh, they don't care. I mean, go look at Lonzo's Ball's last game against Kentucky. Was he crying? Like, oh, yeah, this is my last game. I'm out of here. Getting millions. He doesn't care. Lonzo Ball didn't care. He didn't care. You think he cared about, you think he cared about any of those guys on UCLA? Maybe, but do you think he cares now? Like, I'm out of here. Peace. Going to the NBA. You guys are still gonna be here at UCLA. So De'Aaron Fox and Bam Adebayo, I mean, that shows you the kind of player or players that John Calipari recruits. He doesn't just recruit talent. He recruits guys that care about the game, that care about basketball, that care about their teammate and their brother. So I really, really saw that. And then so that was a very good game, very good close game. Another good game they ran into Final Four, UNC versus Oregon. UNC missed like 4 free throws down the road, down the stretch, and Oregon couldn't get a rebound. They lost 77-76. If Oregon could have just snatched the rebound, they might have had a chance to win, but they couldn't. And that's the thing, is that UNC is probably the best offensive rebounding team in the nation. So you're not going to get money off. You really have to box out, and you really have to be active till you get the ball, because those guys are scrappy. Those guys are, jockeying for position. Kennedy Meeks, I believe, he's a beast, man. I mean, a lot of those guys, man, everybody rebounds. Justin Jackson, Theo Pinson, Kennedy, they all rebound, man. They're a great offensive rebounding team. So, Joel Berry will get in there with his little self and get a rebound or two. So they're a good offensive rebounding team. So, when you can't get a rebound in the last 4 free throw attempts and they miss them all, I mean, you catch a big break. Felt bad for that kid from Oregon that missed the rebound. He blocked out and everything, and then just missed to get the rebound. So now you're pitted with UNC versus Gonzaga. It's 8:20 Central start time, and this is going to be a good game. UNC's favored by 1.5 points. And per ESPN's Basketball Power Index, Gonzaga's favored by 58.8. They're favored 58.8% to UNC's 41.2% to win the game in their predictor. Season leader Justin Jackson's been amazing. Leads the team 18.3 points per game. Nigel Williams-Goss, like I said, 16.9 points per game, shooting 49% from the field, 88 from free throw. For Justin, 44.7 and 74.6 his slash line from free throw as well. Like I said, Kennedy Meeks is one of the best offensive rebounders in the nation. He averages 3.8 offensive rebounds. Jonathan Williams is Gonzaga, and this is the thing, is that Gonzaga's a good rebounding team too. UNC's just a better rebounding team, and you don't say that much about teams, but Gonzaga's a good rebounding team. UNC's a great, superb rebounding team. So you really, really have to rebound. Like Jay Billis said, that's what Mark Few's going to put on the whiteboard. Rebound. So, you have to really get those extra, because if North Carolina gets extra possessions because they're such a great offensive rebounding team, they pretty much, their offensive rebounds is their own, is basically an offense of itself. Kennedy Meeks gets easy putbacks. They get another opportunity with a guy slashing to the rim off of the offensive rebound. I mean, it's really, really interesting to watch. And so when you look at the season stats, and you can pretty much throw those away right now because we're in a tournament, and pretty much everything's pretty much what you see is what you get right now. But throughout the season, UNC averaged more points per game in a better conference at 84.8 points per game. Points against, and like I said, this is because Gonzaga's schedule's a little weak because they play in the West Coast Conference, but they try to go in those early season tournaments and play against good tough competition in their non-conference schedules. Okay, pretty tough, but points against them, 61.8 points against them. That's really remarkable. Not even UNC has that, and like I said, man, they play in a weaker conference, play weaker schedule. So Gonzaga, pretty much those numbers don't mean anything to me. When you're going against UNC, UNC is pretty much going to score 80 points against your team. It's pretty much inevitable. Field goal percentage wise, 50%. They shoot 50% from the field. UNC 46.9%, but that's in case predicated to their offensive rebounds. They don't shoot as well as other teams, so to say, but they offensive rebound a lot better than teams. And they average 3.7 points rebounds more than Gonzaga. Gonzaga's at 40.5. UNC's at 43.7. Like I said, better rebounding team. Gonzaga's a good rebounding team. UNC's a great rebounding team. So you really got to get on the boards with them. UNC spreads the wealth a little bit more too. 18 points a game to Gonzaga's 15 assists per game. 18 assists a game for UNC to Gonzaga's 15 assists per game. Gonzaga does have more blocks. They do have necessarily. Gonzaga doesn't have length all across positions. UNC has more length across the board, but in terms of Kennedy Minks is pretty big, but you got Karnowski, who's a pretty big guy. I think he's 7'1" or 7'2", big guy, like Bryant Reeves big. So yeah. So you're gonna get those blocks per game. Jonathan Williams, pretty long guy, pretty athletic guy. So they win that in blocks per game. UNC wins and steals by they're pretty much head to head, neck and neck in steals at 7 and 6.9. So looking at the game, let's throw these stats away. What I've seen, Gonzaga's a really good team, very very good team. UNC's a very good team. Both teams are very good. UNC wants to do a lot of the same things that Gonzaga wants to do. Gonzaga wants to run, but they also want to slow the pace down and give it to their big guys. UNC wants to just run. They wants to run, and that's all they want to do. And that's what Roy Williams, when they start to get slowed, all you hear is Roy Williams on the sideline, run, because that's what he wants this team to do. He knows the strength of this team. He knows that this team has guys that are that are gonna be athletic, get in the wings, and they're gonna, put it down. They're gonna, if they get to the hole, they're gonna pretty much get a foul, or they're gonna make the shot, or they're gonna get an offensive rebound off a close layup because you're gonna take two defenders with the guy, or you're gonna get a driving kick. So Roy Williams is smart. He knows what his team's about. Now when you look at Gonzaga's point of view, now Gonzaga, in this particular matchup, I don't think you run with UNC, because if you run with UNC, they're gonna run you out the building. So I think Gonzaga needs to slow the pace down, give it into their big guys a couple times, see what happens, get some easy, soften up the defense a little bit, and then driving kick to the shooters. I mean, Gonzaga's got some shooters; they can make some shots. And so, if Gonzaga can rebound, can out-rebound, if they can win the glass today against UNC, limit the extra possessions that UNC gets, slow the pace down, don't play into their game, and then rebound some more, they can win this game against UNC. But I don't think any of that's going to happen. I think UNC's motivated. They basically have the same team coming back from last year's national championship run. And so this team's, on top of this team being great, on top of this team being athletic, on top of this team being one of the best rebounding teams, probably the best rebounding team in the nation, they're motivated. They're driven. They want to win this game. They know what happened last year. All these guys played in that game. They understand the magnitude of this situation. Hey guys, we're back. We're going to win it this time. And that's what I think the motivation is. They're destined to win this game. UNC is destined to win. I picked them in a couple of my brackets. I mean, obviously everybody does like 20 million brackets, But in one of my brackets, UNC's in a couple of my brackets, UNC wins against Gonzaga, by the way. So with that being said, I got UNC winning 85-83. It's going to be a close game, but UNC is going to pull it off and win by a couple points. And they're going to raise the banner. They're going to raise they're going to be in the end raising the trophy, and UNC will be your national champion tonight. And that's it for the show, folks. I wanted to keep it short and simple and sweet. Next podcast, I will talk about the Major League Baseball. Probably bring you a preview on that. Maybe do a NFL mock draft as well. 1.0 before the NFL mock draft comes, and then I will preview the NBA playoffs because we're in the last week of the NBA season. So with that being said, everybody have a nice day. Good Monday. Peace out.